In this video, I rank cursed Ayaka teams, like this Pyro Ayaka team with C6 Bennett, or this Hydro Ayaka team with Candace. I love Ayaka, she's by far my favorite character, and because I've never been able to find a guide that makes her viable for the Abyss, I decided to test out my own teams. You'll be surprised at how well some of these cursed teams perform, so stick around. And if you haven't noticed, my channel is incredibly small. A few videos ago, I set a goal of 100 subscribers by the end of 2023. And I just want to say, thank you everyone for helping me hit my goal. When I set my goal, I hope for 1 to 2 new subs per video, and to hit 100 subs by the end of 2023. I'm going to set a new goal, but I can't expect every video to do this well because the YouTube algorithm really hasn't been that nice to me so far. I feel it's really ambitious, but let's see if we can get to 500 subscribers by the end of this year. I say we, because I'll need your help. So if you like any of my videos, please share them. Pressing the like button and or commenting on my videos is another great way to help. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing. It's free and you can always change your mind. Again, thank you so much, and just know that I really do appreciate you. You honestly are the best. Sounds like we better get this video going before Ayaka and Nilou start fighting again, though. So if you don't keep up with Genshin Impact memes, then you might not be aware of the, let's say, feud between Ayaka and Nilou. So let me fill you in real quick. This is what Nilou has to say about Ayaka. She's a gorgeous and elegant woman indeed, but that won't be something to worry about because I know that the Traveler admires me more than her. Cause you know, I dance very well, and my moves are not only swift on the floor, Traveler said I dance better when I'm above him. Now let's see what Ayaka says about Nilou. After I learned that she is also a master in sword fighting, I once invited her to do some sparring, but sadly she declined my invitation. But when I said that the Traveler will be watching us sparring, she accepted it instantly. Now I'm only waiting for that day to come, so that I can pierce my blade through her throat. Well, that escalated quickly. Now let's see how well they did in a team together. I named this team the Cold Shoulder because a couple of the members can't seem to get along. This is a Hyper Bloom team comprised of Ayaka, Nilou, Shinobu, and Nahida. So starting with Ayaka, she's equipped with the 2-piece Gladiator's Finale and 2-piece Noblesse Oblige. I would really like to be able to see how well she does with the 4-piece Blizzard Strayer, but I've only been able to get this mediocre set. Based on my previous experience, the artifacts I have on her now are much better than my Blizzard Strayer set. If you end up trying some of these teams yourself, just keep in mind they might end up working better with this set on her. But until my luck turns around, this is one of my preferred kits for her. If you're not familiar with how Ayaka works, she does most of her damage with her burst. However, you can hit some pretty high numbers with her skill, in the right situations that is. She can even infuse her normal attacks with cryo for 5 seconds after sprinting. There are times when you might want to use Ayaka solely as burst support, but all the teams in this video assume that you want to use her as a hyper carry, or your main on-field DPS unit. Next up is Ayaka's least favorite person, Nilou. Because this team wasn't cursed enough, I decided to put 4-piece Deepwood Memories on her, but she's still using the Black Sword for her weapon. If you're going to try this out yourself, I would try putting Sapwood Blade on her instead. The Deepwood Memories isn't highly recommended on Nilou, but being as I have Nahida in this group, I really wanted someone to have this artifact set on regardless. Also, you usually want to always have Nilou in a group composed only of Hydro and Dendro units, to take advantage of her powerful, bountiful cores. But spoiler alert, I discovered that she's almost just as good as Xingqiu in Hyper Bloom teams. They are nearly interchangeable, which I find both confusing and interesting. I think the reason for this is because in Hyper Bloom teams, most of the damage comes from the Dendro cores. You'll see what I mean when I get to the results. Shinobu is my favorite Hyper Bloom activator. She's a pretty good healer, even with these EM artifacts, 2-piece Wanderer's Troop and Gilded Dreams. To take full advantage of Nahida's burst, you need someone with 1000 elemental mastery in the group. Being as Shinobu's skill is what activates the Dendro cores, and Hyper Bloom damage is largely based off of EM, it makes the most sense to put it on her. Her passive talent, Heart's Repose, even increases both the damage and the healing amount of her skill based on Shinobu's EM. Really the only downside with Shinobu that I see is her playstyle can be a bit risky. This is because she does the best when she's knocking on death's door. And finally we have the real star of the show today, Nahida. In a Hyperbloom team you can really get away with just about any Dendro unit, but for a lot of the other groups she was the major reason they did as well as they did. She's using 2-piece Deepwood Memories and 2-piece Wanderer's Troop. You can also do a high EM build on her instead. So to test these teams I wanted to see a few things from them. 1. How fast they can clear floor 12. 2. Their overworld performance. And 3. How much investment into the characters has been made. To test their overworld performance, I pitted each team against the Ion Blight Drake, but everyone in the team has to start with 0 energy. I added this requirement because I figured that anyone can build up their bursts beforehand and then down this Robo Chicken with ease. It's a bit more difficult if you start at 0 energy and will usually require some ramp up to get to the team's full potential. I also feel that it more realistically represents an average overworld encounter. To make it easy to rank these teams, I decided to make this tool that will rank my teams for me. All I have to do is enter in their stats, and voila, I get a rank. Starting at the top, the ranks are SS+, SS, S, A, B, C, and Fanboy. What about calling the SS Plus Whale tier? But I wanted to give myself some false hope that I might be able to achieve this rank with enough work. I was considering making this tool available for anyone to use, so if you're interested, let me know in the comments. Okay, enough explaining. Let's finally see how this team did. In Floor 12, Chamber 1, they finished in 1 minute and 33 seconds. And in Chamber 2, again, they finished in 1 minute and 33 seconds. In Chamber 3, they finished in 1 minute and 47 seconds. If I were to do a few runs, I could probably improve these results, but it was hard enough to do this much testing already. This just goes to show how much I love Ayaka. Anyway, next up is the Robo Chicken. Even starting at 0 energy, they were able to down this boss in just 35 seconds. So with these results, they've ranked as S tier. And this I actually agree with. It's likely with a few attempts, you could 36 star the Abyss with this group, as long as you have another group that is just as good, or a little better. Also, there's nothing in the overworld that can stop you, so if you made it this far, why not subscribe and hit the like button. I like to make these types of videos, so you won't regret it. If for some reason you do, you can always change your mind. And just know that I really do appreciate you, even if you don't subscribe. But I might appreciate you more if you do. Just kidding. So now that you know how these teams will be ranked, I'll speed things up and show you the results for all the teams that I tested. As you can see, I tested a lot of different teams. I would really like to go into detail on each team, but this video is already starting to get too long for the YouTube algorithm. So I'll just go over the good and the bad highlights. Starting with the bad, we have the standard Ayaka team, Permafrost. This team wasn't supposed to be a cursed team. If you try to search for Ayaka team comps, this freeze team or variants of it is about all you're going to find. I mean, it must be good if so many people recommend it, right? But this is exactly why I've never been able to 36 star the Abyss with Ayaka. I suppose if you massively invest into all characters and their artifacts, then maybe somehow magically it turns into a decent team. The only way I can see this group working well is if you have Kazuha and Shenna. But this team just does not work for me. Playing this team in the Abyss was like listening to Baby Shark on a 24-hour loop. I nearly went insane because of how many attempts this took me.
Break it, fix it, trash it, change it, melt, upgrade it, chart it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it, slide it, get it, paste it, save it, load it, rewrite it, start it, save it, load it, burn it, back it, drop it, zip and zip it, lock it, fill it, code it, find it, back it, fill it, code it, lock it, suck it, fill it, code it, find it, back it, fill it, code it, lock it, scroll it, find it, code it, find it, back it, fill it, code it, lock it, suck it, find it, code it, find it, lock it, suck it, fill it, code it, find it, back it, fill it, code it, lock it, suck it, fill it, code it, find it, back it, fill it, code it, lock it, scroll it, find it, code it, find it, back it, fill it, code it, lock it, suck it,
Well, now let's look at some positives. I ended up finding several Ayaka teams that were S-ranked, but I want to talk about this A-ranked team first. It's a Pyro-Burgeon Ayaka team with C6 Bennett, Singsho, and Nahida. I first tried this team with my usual Ayaka setup, but then I figured, YOLO, might as well try her out with a pure EM build to see if more Burgeon damage makes this team better. And it was a good thing I tried it, because oddly enough, this is almost a viable team for the Abyss. It does mean that you lose Ayaka's Cryo Infusion on her normal attacks, but if you have C6 Bennett and you want to use him with Ayaka, I found this is the best way to do it. I equipped Ayako with my preferred kit for Shinobu. Bennett was using a bit more standard Bennett-style artifacts. Singsho had the 4-piece Deepwood memory set on him, and I mostly used the same setup on Nahida in all these groups. Floor 3 was a big problem in this version of the Abyss, for a lot of these teams. This is because it requires an Electro character to quickly destroy the terrible Dorito bot. So maybe if I were to put this team in the second wave, they might do better. The next team I want to highlight is this Hydro Ayaka team. So since I'm not happy with how Dia released, I decided to make my own character. Her name is Ayako. There are a few ways to pair Candace with Ayaka, but in my preliminary testing I found this to be one of the best teams for her. That's probably because it's another Hyperbloom team. Surprise, surprise. The really weird thing about this team is that you have to get used to not sprinting before attacking with Ayaka. This is because Ayaka's Cryo Infusion will override Candace's Hydro Infusion. So in order for this team to work, you need to have 100% uptime on Candace's Burst. To do this, I have her equipped with a Favonius Lance, 2-piece ESF, and 2-piece Tenacity of Millilith. And because this is a Hyperbloom team, I also have Shinobu and Nahida. They were able to down the Ion Blight Drake in 39 seconds, which resulted in a score that was only slightly better than this Aggravate team I tested. Surprisingly, the best team I found was this one with Nilou. However, it was only slightly better than my go-to Hyperbloom team comprised of Shinobu, Singsho, Nahida, and in this case, Ayaka. But again, these scores are so close that if I were to do this a few more times, they would likely end up having the same average score or close to it. After testing out these teams, I wanted to see how my best Ayaka teams compared to my go-to Alhaitham team with Fischl, Shinobu, and Singsho. And they've been ranked SS tier, which makes sense because I'm pretty sure this is the strongest team I have. But I'll have to do more testing to figure out who's stronger, Nahida or Alhaitham, but that's a topic for a different video. I really wanted to go into much more detail for each and every one of these teams I tested, but I also would like YouTube to recommend this video, so I hope you enjoyed it. This was a lot of fun testing these Ayaka teams, so if enough people hit the like button on this video, it lets me know that this is actually worth all the time and effort that it takes to make this type of video. Then I can keep making this type of content. What do you think of these teams? Let me know in the comments. If for some reason you haven't subscribed already, please smash that subscribe button and help me hit my goal of 500 subs by the end of this year. And just remember that you matter. I really appreciate you, and thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Subscribe.
Oz, reveal thyself! I created another universe and founded paradise, for I, Fischl, am the Prinzessin der Verirrten.